welcome to our English news coming to you live from Canal, Algérie. First, the top stories of the news. The President of the Republic decides to respond favorably to the request of the German President regarding granting pardon to Boualem Sansal. The Algerian-Somali cooperation in the limelight with the official visit paid by the Somali President to our country. And Army General Said Chingriha, Minister Delegate to the National Defense Minister, PNA Chief of Staff, receives the Zimbabwean Defense and War Veterans Minister. Welcome back and thanks for joining us. First in our news, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, extended his heartfelt condolences to his Turkish counterpart Recep Tayyip Erdogan following the crash of a military aircraft on the borders with Azerbaijan and Georgia, causing the death of 20 soldiers, praying Allah Almighty to accept the dead in his vast paradise and to grant their families patience and solace. Always with the presidential activities, the President of the Republic, Abdelmajid Tebboune, received on November the 10th a request from the German President Frank-Walter Steinmeier relating to a pardon for Boualem Sansal. The President of the Republic gave a particular attention to this request due to its natural and humanitarian grounds. In accordance with the Article 91, Paragraph 8 of the Constitution, and after consultation in line with the law, the President of the Republic decided to respond favorably to the request of the German President. The German state will be responsible for the transfer and medical care of the person concerned. End of the communique. As part of his official visit to Algeria, the Somali President Hassan Sheikh Mahmoud paid a visit to the medicines production units belonging to Saidal Group. He was accompanied by the pharmaceutical industry and agriculture ministers. The Somali President was provided with explanations relating to the pharmaceutical industry in Algeria in both the state and private sectors. Algeria's guest urged the national companies to invest in his country to profit from their immense experience in the field. The Somali President paid as well a visit to the Grand Mosque of Algiers, where he was received by the rector of the mosque, Mohammed Ma'moun Al-Qasimi. He accomplished the last prayer and toured the different pavilions of the mosque, accompanied by the agriculture minister. At the end of the visit to this religious site, the Somali President signed the golden register of the mosque. To another story now, Prime Minister Sefi Ghraib chaired a cabinet meeting devoted to the draft bill relating to road code meant to curb with the road accidents via drastic measures and even penal sanctions against drivers violating the regulations. The government examined a draft executive decree pertaining to the modalities and conditions of the audiovisual production. Another draft executive decree related to approving and renewing the establishment and exploitation of license in the field of e-communication belonging to the Algérie Telecom Company. He also reviewed the government's forward as well communication pertaining to the innovation products and their contribution to develop the national economy. Army General Said Chingriha, Minister Delegate to the Minister of National Defense, PNA Chief of Staff, received the Minister of Defense and War Veterans Affairs of the Republic of Zimbabwe, now on a visit to Algeria at the head of an important military delegation. Melissa Kabash with more details.
welcoming ceremony kicked off by the hailing of the flag and listening to the national anthems, followed by a military salute presented to the guest by a military unit representing the different forces of the PNA. Present during the meeting, the commander of the land forces, the general secretary to the National Defense Ministry, the commander of the Republican Guard, the commanders in force, the principal private secretary to the National Defense Ministry, the acting commander of the National Gendarmerie, heads of departments, the general inspector of the army and central directors of the general staff of the PNA and that of the National Defense Ministry, alongside members of the Zimbabwean delegation. During the meeting, the two parties reviewed the status of bilateral military cooperation as well as ways and means to reinforce it. They also evoked security challenges occurring in the world and in Africa before exchanging points of view on different issues of common interest.
بمناسبة زياراتكم للجزائر.
On this occasion, the Army General delivered a speech in which he welcomed Algeria's guest and the delegation accompanying it, hoping for their staying to be delightful, indicating that this visit reflects the profound fraternal and historic ties binding our two peoples and the will of both high authorities of our two countries to consolidate the process of bilateral cooperation, notably in the field of defense and security, indicating that the historic relation between our two countries go back to the era of our people's common fight for liberty, dignity and national sovereignty, while remaining attached to their principles, both determined to gain back their independence and support the struggle to free all Africa from colonial yoke and racial segregation.
من أجل استكمال تحرر إفريقيا من الاستعمار ومن الميز العنصري.
The bonds between our two peoples are maintained through a mutual respective spirit of sincere solidarity and constructive cooperation, characterized by permanent consultation and convergence of points of views on major files regarding our continent.
وتطابق الرؤى تجاه القضايا الكبرى التي تهم قاراتنا. ولقد تعززت هذه الشراكة على إثر الزيارة الرسمية التي قام بها إلى الجزائر شهر جويي الماضي.
Army General Syed Changriha underlined that this partnership was further reinforced thanks to the official visit paid to Algeria last July by the President of the Republic of Zimbabwe, Emerson Mnangagwa, following the invitation of his brother, President Abdelmajid Tebboune, Commander-in-Chief of the Armed Forces, Minister of National Defense. This visit, added the Army General, constitutes an opportunity to exchange points of view on ways and means to boost cooperation and consultation on African and international issues of common interest, and was also crowned with the signing of several accords and memoranda of understanding in different domains. For her part, Minister Opa Moshengeri Kashri praised the welcome and the hospitality that have been reserved for her since her arrival in Algeria. She expressed her ambition to combine efforts in the direction of strengthening bilateral military cooperation so as to bring it to the level of excellence that characterizes relations between the two friendly countries. At the end of the meeting, the two parties exchanged symbolic gifts before the Minister of Defense and Veterans Affairs of the Republic of Zimbabwe signed the Golden Register of the General Staff of the PNA. It is worth noting that Minister Opa Mushinguri Kashri visited the Martyrs' Sanctuary, where she laid a wreath of flower and observed a minute of silence in memory of our valiant Shuhada or martyrs.
From military cooperation to the realm of justice, the proceedings of the 41st session of the Arab Justice Ministers' Council, attended by Algeria's Justice Minister Lotfi Boujema, wound up in Cairo, Egypt, with a decision paying tribute to Algeria for hosting the upcoming session slated for November 2026. Lotfi Boujama highlighted the major progress made by Algeria thanks to the reforms engaged in the sector and its independence. Civil Cooperation Algeria took part on Wednesday in a meeting held in Berlin, Germany, devoted to assess the progress made in terms of green hydrogen and the Southern Hydrogen Corridor being carried out by Sonatrach and its EU partners. The Algerian side was represented by members of the hydrocarbons, energy and renewable energies sectors. During the meeting, Algeria reiterated its unwavering commitment to develop green hydrogen, being the bedrock for energy transition. Researchers and industry experts gathered in Algiers to discuss sustainable solutions using solar energy for water desalination, an initiative meant to boost Algeria's role as a key player in renewable energy innovation. Let's hear more from Besmafar.
How can drinking water be produced using a natural and inexhaustible resource, solar energy? That question brought together Algerian and international experts at an international workshop on photovoltaic and desalination technologies. The event was organized by CRTSE, the Center for Research in Semiconductor Technologies for Energy. Researchers presented sustainable and innovative solutions that combine energy autonomy with environmental protection. So this workshop highlights how solar energy can help address the challenges of clean water and energy security in our region.
I'm here both as a speaker and as a collaborator in a research project focused on recycling solar panel waste to produce filtration membranes used in water treatment, desalination and wastewater processing.
Des panneaux solaires pour fabriquer des membranes de filtration.
So I work in water desalination, in solar thermal desalination, mainly focused on membrane distillation with solar energy. And the main collaboration with Algeria is in the field of water energy issue, because we are involved in the water problems, so we need the desalination, and also we have to face with the problem of energy with fossil energy with the emission of greenhouse emissions, so the use of renewable energy like photovoltaic and the solar thermal energy is a must.
Algeria's experience was also showcased with one of the world's highest solar potentials. Exceeding 3,000 hours of sunshine per year, Algeria has engaged in a long-term strategy to diversify its energy mix. Its goal to become a regional leader in green energy, capable of meeting domestic needs while exporting electricity to Africa and Europe.
Le solaire de l'Algérie.
Back in 1980, Algeria was already producing solar cells. In fact, we were and for a long time remained the only country in the Arab world to do so. We have the expertise and the know-how to manufacture solar cells, and the CRTSE is still a unique center in the region for that purpose. The real challenge with desalination lies in its costs. It's a highly energy-intensive process, one that requires a significant amount of power.
The workshop also opened dialogues between research and industry. Such exchanges connect scientists and industrial players. They allow researchers to share progress and help companies identify solutions with real market potential.
There are long-term goals in this regard, and Algeria can stay fully up to date with the latest technologies, everything being developed around the world. This gives us a real day-to-day picture of global advances in photovoltaics. It's essential for our researchers, our experts, our industrialists and our students to remain informed and aligned with these technological developments.
Bringing together both local and international expertise, the event aimed to foster innovation and boost competitiveness in the renewable energy sector.
Yeah, still watching Canal, Algérie, still to come in our news. The Algerian culinary delights are being displayed in Oran province with a heavy presence of participants, all eager to represent their respective regions. Welcome back to our news, to international news now. Anger is rising across Morocco. Citizens in multiple cities are taking to the streets demanding high wages, better living conditions and basic rights. Despite brutal repression, their protests show no sign of slowing. Melissa Leila Balaman expounds.
Anger is boiling over in Morocco. Across multiple cities, daily struggles are pushing citizens onto the streets, demanding a decent life.
The fight goes on. We will not back down until our demands for higher wages are met. We reject this single-sided approach. We will stay here until our rights are fully restored.
Moroccans face systematic repression orchestrated by the Makhzen. Every time people protest for basic rights, social justice, jobs, education, healthcare, they are met with brutal violence.
For 5 years we haven't eaten meat. We've been in debt for 2 years and our housing is in terrible condition. What is the regime doing to us? Many have no stable job. Those who do barely earn enough to survive. Authorities refuse to negotiate. If no one listens, we will continue protesting.
Crushed by arrests and economic hardship, Moroccans demand to be heard. Their struggle will continue as long as their voices are ignored.
Still in the international arena, despite Morocco's attempt to rewrite the story, Western Sahara remains a UN-recognized decolonization case, not a regional dispute. As global voices grow louder, Rabat propaganda is losing ground to the fact of occupation and the Sahrawi people's right for self-determination. Melissa Leila Balamal once again.
Despite repeated disinformation campaigns, Morocco still struggles to shift the Sahrawi issue from its real context, a UN-mandated decolonization process. Through pressure, spin, and falsified narratives, Rabat keeps trying to frame the conflict as a local dispute. But more international media and experts now stress Western Sahara is an occupied land and its people have the right to self-determination. The occupiers' narrative is collapsing under a truth the world increasingly recognizes.
In 1963, the UN listed Western Sahara as a non-self-governing territory. 2 years later, it called for an end to Spanish rule, a call Madrid ignored to protect its interests. In 1973, the Polisario Front was formed, becoming the Sahrawi Liberation Movement and launching an armed struggle for independence.
تأسست الجبهة الشعبية لتحرير الساقية الحمراء ووادي الذهب المعروفة بالبوليساريو.
A Spanish TV network has also taken up the story. Its documentary exposes, through testimony and evidence, decades of suffering under Spanish colonialism and Moroccan occupation. It shows 3 barriers around the territory: a mined sand wall splitting families, a wall blocking movement, and a media blockade silencing Sahrawi voices worldwide.
Years ago, I was offered money to praise Morocco. I refused. Then came hacking, smear campaigns, and fabricated stories.
Todo lo que es las moscas informáticas, la difamación y muchos periódicos hablando de ti, contando mentiras.
International monitoring of Morocco's human rights record is weak, built on biased or incomplete data. Global bodies must act.
Que tiene que remitir a los organismos de control de estos tratados internacionales.
Hay un cambio fundamental.
Everything changed after November 13th, 2020, when the ceasefire collapsed. Access, restricted since 2019, is now almost impossible.
Pero a partir de ahí el territorio yo creo que se cierra de una manera mucho más.
As global awareness grows, Morocco can no longer mute the Sahrawi call for freedom, nor sustain its illusion of sovereignty. History and international law are clear. This land belongs to the Sahrawi people, who will not abandon their fight for independence.
To the Palestinian territories now, where hope for ending aggressions is getting slimmer as 1,500 buildings were demolished by the occupation army since the ceasefire agreement of October the 10th, according to media reports. The entire neighborhood were completely razed to the ground, while humanitarian aid is transferred amid difficulties, according to the UNICEF, which sounded the alarm regarding the obstacles hindering this operation. Back Algeria, to the weekly report of the PNA, which carried out successful operations over the past week, denoting professionalism, vigilance and readiness of the armed forces throughout the national territory. As part of fighting terrorism and thanks to the efforts of the PNA unit, the terrorist T. Sidi Ahmed, known as Mohammed, surrendered to the military authorities of Ain Ghazam, belonging to the 6th military region. In his possession, weapons and considerable ammunition. In the same context, PNA detachment arrested 8 elements backing terrorist groups in different operations across the country. As regards combating organized crime and drug trafficking, PNA detachment intercepted, in coordination with the different security forces, 61 drug traffickers and thwarted attempts to introduce 3 quintals and 44 kilograms of processed cannabis hailing from the Moroccan borders, in addition to 2 kilograms of cocaine and important quantities of psychotropic tablets. In Tamras, Borj Baji Mukhtar, Ain Ghazam and Elizi, PNA detachment arrested 664 individuals and seized 20 vehicles and other equipment used in illegal gold panning operations. 20 other individuals were apprehended. In their possession, weapons, fuel, foodstuffs intended to speculation and trafficking. And finally, coastal guards rescued 165 individuals aboard dignities and arrested 380 illegal migrants of different nationalities through the national territory. Let's shed now light on Algeria's culinary delights being displayed in Oran province, an event intended to showcase our rich national patrimony, in the words of both Yasmin Amri and Besmafar.
Traditional dress and ceremonial pastry, 2 faces of a living legacy. One tells the story of elegance and precision, the other reflects warmth, hospitality and togetherness. Here, inside this fair, they come together and speak the same language, that of heritage.
We are here to exchange between artisans, to discover new experiences and to learn more about our country's traditions, where each region holds its own wealth and its stitches. We make sure to preserve traditional pastries and recipes while adding touches of innovation adapted to modern tastes.
Visitors discover a craft passed down from one generation to another, an art where each piece tells a story. Every pattern holds a memory and every flavor awakens nostalgia. Tradition and innovation come together in this exhibition, designed above all as a space where heritage is celebrated.
More than 70 artisans are taking part in this event to promote their traditional products and to preserve both Iran and Algerian craftsmanship. The Chamber of Handicrafts supports them in this effort of cultural celebration. The event includes several activities: an exhibition of handicrafts, the presentation of awards to veteran artisans, and tributes to graduates from the Chamber's training schools.
A precious legacy, alive, evolving, and carefully preserved, continues to be shared, cherished, and savored.
With this mouth-watering delight, we wrap up our news. Keep tuning to our channel programs. Take care. Goodbye for now.